I've looked like this. I thought I looked like this.
Why, hello everybody!
I've looked like this. I currently look like this. And this is my current goal. So funny. I'm showing you this because I want you to know that I'm not speaking from the outside looking in. I've lived and climbed at many different shapes and sizes, and through all of them, my experience on the wall has been completely different. I've had to adapt, adjust, and find my own way forward depending on where my body was at, and that's exactly what this video is about. Almost every time I talk to somebody who hasn't climbing or maybe wants to start, their excuses are always kind of the same. It's either they're not strong enough or they say they're too heavy. And I'm here to tell you that is 1000% not true. One of the things that really pulled me into climbing is that when you walk into the climbing gym, you just see so many different people, so many different sizes, so many different everything. You have tall people, short people, people with long legs, long arms, long necks, everything. Climbing, I think, is one of the most inclusive sports and hobbies that you can have. And I would hate it if somebody's body image or insecurities is what stopped them from experiencing that. So today I wanted to give you 5 tips and one extra bonus tip that you've probably heard already for bigger and heavier climbers, or anyone who thinks their size is holding them back. Tip number 1, don't let the negativity in.
Be gone, vile man! Be gone from me!
I put this one first because no matter how good your training plan is, if your mindset is bad, your training plan is bad. Whether that negativity is coming from yourself or someone else, don't let it be the reason you don't show up. That voice that says, I would love to try climbing, but I'm too heavy, so what's the point? That voice is just plain wrong. And the fear that there are people at the gym looking at you or staring at you, oftentimes that's your own insecurity and not reality. Based on my own experience, every time I've been to the climbing gym, people are focused on their own problems, their own projects. Again, this is my personal experience. It's one of the most welcoming and warming communities in fitness. And I've seen some negativities online, sure. That's not what I've ever experienced in person. People are more than willing to help you with your beta. They're more than willing to talk you through what they did or give you a helping hand. And when you're climbing, they're more than happy to cheer you on. So don't let your own mindset be the thing that stops you from going into the gym. Show up, get on the wall, and let climbing prove you wrong. Tip number 2, rest more than you think. This one might be the most underrated, and it genuinely could be the difference between progressing steadily and just getting hurt. As a bigger person, you're likely physically stronger than most people around you in the gym, and that's actually a pretty big advantage in climbing. But while you're on the wall, you're also moving a significantly larger load than most other people. You got a lot of load on your fingers, tendons, shoulders, elbows. All those joints need time to recover, and more than likely you probably won't know that it's time to rest until it's too late. So try not to throw yourself at the wall every few minutes. Take longer breaks in between. Listen to your body. I know how it feels when you finally figure out the beta and you're like, oh man, I need to try it. And you're just so close. The last thing you want to do is stop, but that rest will pay you back in interest. And if you struggle to take breaks, there are ways to force yourself to take breaks. Go get a drink of water. Brush the holds every time in between every climb. And take your shoes off is probably the biggest one. These little things force a natural break and keep you from going again too soon. I'll link a video down below that talks about tendon health, tendon recovery, and tendon strengthening if that's something that you're interested in. Tip 3, keep your sessions short and spread them out. This one ties directly into tip 2, but I think it deserves its own spotlight because I think a lot of new climbers get this wrong. If you're climbing for 2 hours at a time, 3 or 4 days a week, especially at a heavier body weight, your body is likely not recovering fast enough between sessions. You're going to hit a wall, and eventually something's going to break down. You'll get injured, you'll burn out, and then you'll be forced to take weeks off instead of the resting days you wanted to take. Shorter sessions, a few days a week with rest in between, is the smartest path. Think quality over quantity. One solid focused 60-minute session where you're rested and sharp is worth more than 3 exhausted 2-hour sessions where your body is running on empty. Build the habit first, then slowly add volume as your body adapts. Tip 4, you'll plateau probably pretty quickly, and that's okay. Newbie gains are real in climbing, just like they are in lifting. When you start, you'll make progress fast and it's going to feel incredible. But for heavier climbers, that initial burst often levels out sooner than you might think. And when it does, there's a temptation to look around and see people making progress a lot faster than you and feel like something's wrong with you. Don't do that. Your journey is your own. When you hit a plateau, that's kind of a good signal to work on things outside of just getting on the wall more. Train pulling strength, work on grip strength, finger strength. If you can't do a pull-up, make that your goal. If a pull-up feels like it's way too out of reach, then maybe start with a dead hang and just build from there. Progress in those supplemental areas will translate directly back to your climbing, even when your grades aren't moving. And that leads perfectly into the next tip. Tip number 5, learn proper technique. I think this one might be the most important. I know I kept it for last, but I think it is the most important, especially for a heavier climber. One big misconception about climbing that it's mostly about upper body strength, and it isn't. Climbing is a full body skill, and your feet are doing an enormous amount of work. And a lot of beginners just ignore that. How you stand on a hold, how you position your hips, how you use heel hooks and toe hooks, how you shift your body weight to unload your arms. All of that technique is what separates someone who grinds through a route by brute force and someone who climbs efficiently. For all climbers, proper technique is essential, but I think especially for heavier ones. You have more weight to manage than someone who's lighter, which means wasted movement costs you more energy. But on the flip side, if you master body positioning and footwork, you can compensate enormously for that weight difference. You'll be able to do more, climb harder, and have a lot more fun in the process. I'm not offering any techniques in this video, but there are plenty of videos out there that offer different types of techniques. You can take a beginner class at your gym. If you don't feel like taking a class or can't afford one, ask somebody that's just climbing next to you. Make a friend at the gym. They'll be happy to teach you. They'll be happy to show you a little something. Now, for our bonus tip, and one that you've probably heard way too often, lose weight. And I saved this one for last because it's the most obvious and honestly probably one that you've heard and thought of 1,000 times. But I think it needs to be on this list because it is a real thing. The simple truth is if you can get lighter while keeping your strength, you will be a better climber. And here's the good news. You already have enough strength that you would need to match most climbers, which means if you can work towards a goal weight while holding on to as much of that strength that you have now, your progress on the wall will just skyrocket exponentially. But here's what I want to be careful about saying. Don't get so restrictive that it becomes unsustainable. You should enjoy the food you eat every single day. You should have enough energy to train, live your life, play with your kids if you have any, meet up with friends, go to work. The goal is to burn slightly more than you consume, not a crash diet to the point where you're exhausted on the wall and miserable of it. Eat enough protein to hold onto your muscle, focus on whole foods as much as you can, and really take the time to learn what your body needs. Because that looks different to everybody. How you get there is up to you, but it's worth working toward. So that's 5 tips and 1 bonus tip from someone who's kind of been there. Bottom line is your size is not the reason to avoid climbing. It never was. Climbing will meet you wherever you are. You just have to show up. If you think there's anything I left out or if I said anything wrong, please leave me a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please give me a like and subscribe if you can. That was lots of talking for me. Amy, bedtime now. Good night.
Another day, another dime, another rhyme, another dollar.